The Pacific Ocean covers a third of our planet, a vast stage for trade, exploration, and conflict. Now, a new rivalry is unfolding. The long-dominant U.S. Navy faces a rapidly rising challenger, China's People's Liberation Army Navy, or PLAN. This isn't just about ships, it's about influence, trade routes, and the future of global power. The U.S. Navy projects power worldwide, keeping sea lanes open with a network of bases and alliances. China's Navy, once focused on coastal defense, now aims to protect overseas interests and assert claims in nearby seas. The stakes are high, and the balance of power is shifting fast. The U.S. relies on technological edge and experience, with unmatched aircraft carriers and global reach. China is closing the gap, building more ships than any nation, and investing in hypersonic missiles and advanced submarines. We'll explore the strengths and weaknesses of both navies, their ships, strategies, and alliances. Understanding this competition is critical for global stability. The peaceful navigation of the Pacific depends on a stable relationship between these two powers. The future, in many ways, is being written on the water. The U.S. Navy was born from revolution in 1775, growing through battles and emerging as a global superpower after World War II. China's naval history is different, focused on land threats, with brief moments of maritime power, like Admiral Zheng He's fleets. The plan began in 1949 as a small coastal force with old Soviet ships. Recently, China launched a massive shipbuilding program, transforming the plan into a blue water navy. Today, both navies are shaped by their unique histories, now rivals in the Pacific. China's plan is now the world's largest navy, with over 370 ships and growing fast. The U.S. Navy, with around 290 ships, focuses on quality. Its 11 nuclear-powered carriers are unmatched. U.S. cruisers and destroyers boast advanced Aegis systems and technology. But China is catching up, investing in missiles, hypersonic weapons, and satellites. Each fleet's makeup reflects its strategy. China for regional dominance, the U.S. for global reach. The balance of power at sea is shifting. The rivalry is just beginning. Aircraft carriers are the heart of American naval power. The U.S. Navy's 11 nuclear-powered carriers, Nimitz and Ford-class, can launch dozens of advanced jets, projecting force anywhere on Earth. A carrier strike group is the most powerful naval formation, controlling vast stretches of ocean and sky. China operates two carriers, Liaoning and Shandong, both smaller and less capable, with limited air wings and older technology. These carriers are regional tools and training platforms, not yet rivals to U.S. supercarriers. The U.S. is fielding Ford-class carriers with new tech like electromagnetic catapults, boosting efficiency and sortie rates. China's third carrier, Fujian, is a leap forward, larger, with electromagnetic launch systems and the potential for stealth fighters. But carriers are also vulnerable. China's carrier-killer missiles, like the DF-21D, threaten U.S. carriers from hundreds of miles inland. This forces U.S. carriers to operate farther from China, reducing their effectiveness. The debate: are carriers powerful assets or billion-dollar targets? Both navies are adapting. U.S. with new tech, China with new strategies. The future of carrier warfare is uncertain. Whoever masters this domain will shape the Pacific's balance of power. The carrier race is on, with both sides innovating fast. The outcome will define naval warfare for years to come. Beneath the waves, submarines wage a silent, deadly contest. The U.S. Navy's all-nuclear subs can stay submerged for months, making them hard to detect. China's larger fleet lags in technology, with many diesel-electric subs that must surface to recharge. Geography matters. China's subs must pass through narrow, heavily monitored choke points. The undersea battle is a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The outcome remains uncertain. Destroyers and frigates are the backbone of any navy. The U.S. Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, with the Aegis combat system, provide a powerful shield against air and missile threats. These ships operate globally, protecting carriers, hunting submarines, and striking land targets. China's shipbuilding surge has produced modern destroyers like the Type 055, larger and heavily armed, with stealth features and advanced sensors. The plan also fields numerous Type 052D destroyers and Type 054A frigates, focused on regional dominance. The US maintains an edge in system integration and operational experience, with decades of real-world missions. China's ships are impressive on paper, but their combat effectiveness remains untested. US destroyers operate worldwide, while China's focus on the South and East China Seas and Taiwan. These surface combatants will be on the front lines in any conflict. Their performance could tip the balance at sea. Naval power isn't just about ships. It's about people, bases, and alliances. The US Navy's global network of bases, Yokosuka, Guam, Pearl Harbor, enables a persistent Pacific presence. These forward bases reduce transit times and allow rapid response to crises. China's Navy is concentrated along its own coast, allowing for easy resupply but limiting global reach. To expand, China has opened its first overseas base in Djibouti and seeks access to ports worldwide. Alliances are a major US advantage. Defense treaties with Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia mean the US would likely fight alongside capable partners. Exercises like RIMPAC build interoperability and readiness. China has few reliable allies, with North Korea its most notable partner. Training and experience also matter. US sailors have decades of global operational experience. The plan is improving, but still lacks the depth of real-world experience. US partnerships create a powerful coalition, complicating China's strategy. The human element and alliances are force multipliers. In a crisis, these relationships could prove decisive. The Pacific is as much about alliances as it is about ships. The Western Pacific is increasingly crowded and tense. US Navy freedom of navigation operations challenge China's maritime claims, sailing near disputed islands in the South China Sea. China sees these as provocations, often shadowing US ships with its own warships and aircraft. Close encounters and aggressive maneuvers have raised the risk of accidents and escalation. Both sides conduct large-scale exercises, China simulating invasions and blockades, the US and allies practicing anti-submarine and missile defense. These drills are military signals, showing resolve and readiness. The Taiwan Strait is the most dangerous flashpoint. China considers Taiwan a rogue province and hasn't ruled out force. The US Navy regularly transits the strait, demonstrating commitment to free navigation and peaceful resolution. Each transit is condemned by Beijing and closely monitored by the plan. The risk of miscalculation is real. The Navy's proximity makes every encounter a potential crisis. The Pacific's peace hangs in the balance. A US-China war would be catastrophic. Both sides hope to avoid it, but must prepare for the worst. If conflict erupts, likely over Taiwan, it would be a massive naval and air war. China would use its home field advantage, launching missile strikes on US bases and carriers, aiming for a quick, decisive victory. The plan would blockade Taiwan, preparing for invasion, while submarines and surface ships create a deadly gauntlet for US forces. Land-based missiles and air power would target American ships and planes from afar. The US would respond by blunting the initial assault, relying on submarines and long-range air power to strike back. Carriers might stay at a distance, while US submarines hunt Chinese ships and launch cruise missiles. The US Air Force would play a critical role, and alliances with Japan and Australia would be vital. The US would aim to sustain a long fight, leveraging technology and coalition power to contain China and blockade its sea lanes. The conflict would be high-tech, high-intensity, and devastating for both sides. There would be no easy winner. Economic and human costs would be immense. The global order would be reshaped for decades. The best outcome is deterrence, preventing war through strength and stability. The Pacific's future depends on avoiding catastrophe. The stakes could not be higher. The world is watching. The next move is critical.